this webinar, and right now actually we are waiting for some other participant to join, so please hold on, and we will be starting the session in few minutes. Hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar on IBM Rational Host on Demand version 11. Let me briefly and quickly introduce myself and my co-presenter. My name is Sayyid Iftikhar Hussain, and with me Hassan Raza Khan, who is actually an experienced HOD technologist. We are representing Royal Cyber here, which is modernized e-business solution provider specializing in software solutions. We are IBM Premier Business Partners and IBM Authorized Trainer and Microsoft Certified Gold Partners. Since the company's inception in 2002, our experts have been leaders in providing training, consultancy, and in IBM Rational products, WebSphere, Tivoli, Lotus, Cognos, and Microsoft family of solutions. Worldwide, we have offices, and we are actually, our clientele include many of the Fortune 500 companies. We are headquartered in Chicago, Illinois. We have a global footprint with offices and development centers across North America, Asia, Europe, Africa, and Middle East. Royal Cyber's strategic move of establishing an offshore center in Asia has helped us to reduce costs and provide highly competitive rates to our valued customers. So let's start with today's topic, which is IBM Rational Host on Demand. So as a quick introduction, actually the IBM Host on Demand provides you the security-rich web-to-host terminal emulation and host access application programming support from a single interface. Rational Host on Demand provides connectivity to TN3270E, TN5250, VT52, VT100, and several other standard. Rational Host on Demand is available as a standalone product or as part of a IBM Host Access Client package and the IBM Rational Host Integration Solution. Rational Host on Demand provides low-cost, centrally deployed host access and easy centralized administration. This is our agenda for today. That includes some topics. So anytime during the session, you can type your questions on the chat window or question window provided by the GoToMeeting interface, and you can ask them at the end of the session. Okay, so here's the agenda or topics for today's webinar. We will give you an introduction to IBM Host on Demand. What are the benefits of using Host on Demand? How can we assist you acquiring the HOD technology? Deployment architecture, installing the server. Okay, also in the unit 3 and 4, we will be actually give you the overview of setting up the HOD clients, the HOD administration, and we will cover some advanced topics like macro programming, and in the end we will give you a quick demo also. So let's start with our unit 1, which is which is Introduction to IBM Rational Host on Demand. Introduction to IBM Host on Demand. The first question is, what is HOD? So let me briefly give you an introduction and background of the Host on Demand technology. IBM Host on Demand provides cost-effective and secure browser-based and non-browser-based host access to users in intranet-based and extranet-based environments. Host on Demand is installed on a web server, simplifying administrative management and deployment. And the Host on Demand applet is downloaded to the client browser or workstation, providing user connectivity to critical host applications and data. Host on Demand supports emulations for common terminal types, communication protocols, communication gateways, and printers, including the following, which is TN3270, TN3270E, TN5250 terminals, VT52, VT100, VT220, VT320, and VT420 terminals. It also provides access to Secure Shell, which is SSH, Transport Layer Security, which is TLS, and Secure Socket Layer, which is SSL. Also, it provides connectivity with File Transport Protocol, which is FTP, and also Customer Information and Control System, which is CIGS, Transaction Gateway. You can use the Java component-based host access toolkit to create customized e-business applications. This toolkit contains a rich set of Java libraries and application programming interface. That includes Host Access Class Library, which is HACL, Host Access Themes for Java, and Java 2 Enterprise Edition connectors. In this slide, it is showing an overall architecture for HOD, and this figure actually is showing an overall architecture, gives you a quick flow how it works. Host on Demand is a client-server system. HOD clients are Java applets that are downloaded from the web server to a web browser on a remote computer. So as per the steps mentioned in this picture, step 1 is the user opens the browser and clicks a hyperlink. Step 2 is IBM Rational Host on Demand applet loads to the client workstation. And in step 3, when the applet is downloaded, IBM Rational Host on Demand connects directly to any telnet server to access host applications. The million-dollar question you might have is, why use IBM HOD? And what are the benefits? It is for those organizations having mainframes and mini-frame-based applications and wanted to extend them to remote users through intranet and administer them centrally with less effort, or want to add value to their existing tested and proven application system and further modernize it. Organization can reduce maintenance costs and increase the return on investment by installing Host on Demand on a web server, eliminating the need to manage individual users. And since the applet resides on a server and are downloaded to web browsers when needed, you no longer have to schedule maintenance and upgrades. Just upgrade the software on the server and users can receive the upgrades the next time they access the client applets. Similarly, administrators can centrally define and control all sessions and configuration information available to their users, including connections options, security features, macro definitions, keyboard specifications, and color mappings. Furthermore, administrators have full control over fields, which fields the user can or cannot modify, or can choose where user updates should be stored. With host on demand, the client applet contains the emulation functionality with the emulator residing on the client. The middle tier servers such as IBM communication server or third-party systems network architecture, which is SNA servers, can be eliminated. Any performance and security issues introduced with this intermediary piece of applications can be easily removed. Once the applet is served to the client, it is easy to connect directly to any standard telnet server that provides the best access to the required data. You can access many host sessions concurrently by eliminating the need for a middle tier server. Host on demand also minimizes capacity restrictions. The browser-based access of host on demand gives you a simple way to centrally manage and deploy critical host applications. Host on demand uses the power of Java technology to open the doors to your host system whenever you need it. Just click on a hyperlink to launch the host on demand Java applet. This web-to-host connectivity solution provides secure web browser access to host applications and system data through Java-based emulation. You can take existing host applications to the web without programming. Because host on demand is Java-based, its interface has the same look and feel across various types of operating environments. Host-on-demand servers and clients are supported on a variety of platforms and can be used over any TCP/IP network. This gives you a great deal of flexibility in setting up your system and enables a host-on-demand to be deployed in your computing environment without having to purchase new hardware and software. Support for Java 2 is present. The host on demand is compatible with browsers that support Java 2 standards. In addition, some new features of host on demand take advantage of capabilities offered by Java 2 only. Support for Internet Protocol version 6 is also included. HOD supports Internet Protocol version 6, which is the replacement for Internet Protocol version 4. Version 6 expands the number of available IP addresses and makes improvements in routing and network configuration. Host on demand is available in 23 languages, including double byte character set languages. Support for the European currency symbol as well as keyboard and code page support for many more languages such as Arabic, Hebrew, and Thai is also provided. All language versions are available on the same media, and multiple language versions can be accessed concurrently. Secure connections and data exchange is also there. Using transport layer security, which is TLS version 1.0, and secure socket layer SSL version 3.0, host on demand extends secure host data access across internet and extranets and the internet and also on the internet. Mobile workers access a secure website, receive authentication, and establish communication with a secure enterprise host. With client and server certificate support, host on demand can present a digital certificate X509 and version 3 to the telnet server. Host on demand can also configure for use in environments that includes firewalls. Host on demand includes the Java support and component-based host access toolkit for creating customized e-business applications. This toolkit contains a rich set of Java libraries and application programming interfaces, including the host access class library, which is HACL, host access beans for Java, and Java 2 Enterprise Edition J2E connectors. Value-added host access and without worries modernization. We said this because through all these features that are described here, and support allows the developing and value-added host access application easily. So you just stay put with the proven existing backend solutions and you don't need to worry. Nothing is going to change in your existing backend application if you are going to use host-on-demand technology. So we generally set a WoW modernization. This process we call a WoW modernization, which is actually worry-free, and you don't need to change anything in the backend system. Now, acquiring IBM Rational Host on Demand product. To acquire IBM Host on Demand product, you can get it directly from IBM, or RileSaber can help you in acquiring the software as per the custom needs. So Riles, if you visit the Host on Demand main page, product page, you would see our reference there present, and our team would be happy to assist you in analyzing your requirements, and we can actually assist you to acquire the IBM Host on Demand and configure it as per your needs. So this actually ends the Unit 1 for this session. So now we will actually move to Unit 2. That will actually cover some other topics. So let's start with Unit 2 topics now, which is deployment models. In this segment, we will actually cover the host-on-demand deployment models. As mentioned in the previous slides, host-on-demand provides access to host applications from a web browser. The browser downloads the host-on-demand Java applet from the web server and then connects to any telnet server to access host applications. The host-on-demand applet needs configuration information to determine which host to connect and other host session properties. This configuration information can be provided to the host-on-demand applet from an HTML file that is used to launch host-on-demand or by the host-on-demand configuration server. The configuration server is a part of host-on-demand that centrally stores session configuration information and user preferences by user and group IDs. Users then access session information and user preferences by contacting the configuration server. The configuration server is managed through the administration client. We will cover the administration and everything else related to client configuration in the upcoming slides and in the demo. You can create custom client HTML files using the deployment wizard. When creating these HTML files, you can choose from 3 different configuration models to specify how session configuration information and user preferences are defined. The HTML-based model, the configuration server-based model, and the combined model. The HTML-based model. If you choose the HTML-based model, all host session and configuration information is contained within the HTML file itself, and nothing more is needed to define host sessions. Therefore, you are not required to use the configuration server to specify sessions, which means you don't have to open up a port on your firewall. If you allow users to save changes to the host session configuration information, their changes are stored on the local file system where the browser is running. Defining configuration information in HTML files is only available in clients that are created using the deployment wizard. The configuration server-based model. In the configuration server-based model, host session information is maintained on the configuration server using the administration client, and the information is defined using a user and a group structure. By default, the configuration server stores its data directly on the host-on-demand server machine, though it can be configured to use LDAP instead. Users access their configurations using either custom HTML files created in the deployment wizard or by using one of several HTML files that are provided as part of the host on demand. User IDs are defined in the configuration server, and in most cases, the user needs to log on to the host on demand server before viewing their sessions. If administrators allow users to save changes, user preferences are stored in the configuration server by user IDs. Because their customization are saved on the configuration server, this model may be the best choice if users need to access their sessions from multiple machines. Firewall and configuration servlet. By default, the web browser communicates directly to the configuration server. If you communicate through a firewall, you need to open the configuration server's port on the firewall. Alternatively, you can use the configuration servlet to eliminate the need to open the configuration server's port on the firewall. The web browser connects to the configuration servlet over an HTTP or HTTPS connection, and the configuration servlet then interacts with the configuration server. The combined model. Host on demand supports a combined model where the host session information is defined in the configuration server, like the configuration server model, and user updates are saved on the user's machines, like in the HTML model. In addition, like the HTML-based model, users of the combined model do not need to log on to the host on demand server to view their sessions. Now, installing the host on demand server. Under this topic, we will discuss installing the host on demand server that includes the following three main components. The host on demand server, which is necessary for using host on demand. The host on demand configuration servlet, which is needed only in specific instances when you are running host on demand in conjunction with a firewall. The deployment wizard, an extremely useful tool that runs on Windows to generate customized host on demand clients. There are three options for installing the host on demand server on Windows, AIX, Linux, Solaris, and HP UX systems. Number one is using the graphical user interface, using the console mode, or using the silent mode. But in this presentation, we will cover only the first one, which is the graphical interface for Windows operating system. These steps will guide you through the graphical interface for host on demand installation on Windows system. The step one is, if the platform supports DVD autoplay, you can insert the DVD and wait for the start window, and you then launch the installation program with the native platform launcher appropriate to the environment. In our case, on Windows, we will run a setup.bat file. After launching the setup.bat file, you will see this this screen is showing the setup.bat file in a folder. You have to double click it in order to launch it. In the step 2, the welcome window will appear in the language of system or user's locale. Read the software agreement and you can proceed on. And this slide is actually showing the message that will appear when you will launch the setup on your system. You just need to accept the license agreement and you need to click next. the step 3, if there is a previous version of host on demand installed on Windows, a window will appear informing that the install will migrate host on demand from the previous version to the current one. The additional language selection window which display to allow you to choose from a variety of languages available in addition to English, which is automatically installed. So this slide actually shows the language selection options, multiple language selection options, and you can choose whatever you want to, and you can click next. In the step 4, the next window will ask for input to configure appropriate web servers and establish the published directory. Here you will specify the published directory. So this slide actually showing the interface where you provide the details. Prior to Windows 7, that is Windows XP Vista, a list of detected web servers will appear, but in some cases, if it is not showing there, you can choose manually. Select the web server that you want to configure for host on demand. If you select none, you will need to configure your web server manually in order to use the host on demand. The install wizard will prompt you to designate your published directory by displaying the default HOD as a subdirectory appended to your host on demand server path. The wizard also prompts you to specify an alias for the directory. In the step 5, specify the service manager port through which host on demand clients communicate with the service manager. This communication is necessary for the deployment using the configuration server to maintain session configuration information for configuration server-based model and combined deployment models, as described earlier. IBM recommends designating port 8999 for these purposes. You can check your server documentation to see if this port is being used. If it is in use, you can change the port during installation or at a later time. In the step 6, configuration servlet installation. This configuration servlet is optional. If you run host on demand through a firewall, this configuration servlet eliminates the need to open an extra port for client communication with the host on demand service manager. If you click yes, the window will appear listing the various versions of the application servers detected and prompting you to choose from them. The installation program will automatically deploy the configuration servlet on the web application server you will designate, and it will configure your clients to access the service manager through the servlet. If in case you click no, the installation program will configure the clients to access the service manager directly on port 8999. As a final step, a window will appear summarizing all the inputs. You can click next, and when the installation will complete, the wizard will allow you to view the host on demand information center. Click finish in the end to complete the process, and wizard might prompt to restart your computer. This is the actually windows, and that will appear in the end, summarizing all your inputs. You need to click next to start the install. The deployment wizard is automatically installed as part of the Windows host on demand that we just covered. I mean, you don't need to explicitly install the deployment wizard, but if it is also available separately for those customers who do not wish to install the entire Windows host on demand server. So you can actually install deployment wizard as a separate installation also. This slide is actually showing the installation of deployment wizard as a separate software. So to install and run the deployment wizard separately from the DVD, you need to do the following. Insert the host on demand DVD in the DVD in your DVD, and auto run is if your auto run is enabled, it will start automatically. Otherwise, you need to run the setup win.exe file located on your DVD, and a wizard will guide you through the remaining installation steps. And once installation is complete, you can launch the deployment wizard from the start menu of the Windows and go to the program desktop menu. So here actually it ends the unit 2. Now actually we are moving to our unit 3. Which is configuring emulator and administration clients. So let's start with the topic. After installing host on demand, you need to create HTML files and configure host on demand sessions for your users. Host on demand provides a simple HTML file of ready to use 3270 and 5250 or VT100 sessions and FTP emulator session pre-configured. You can use these HTML files or create your own customized emulator clients using deployment wizard. Host on demand provides a sample HTML file of ready to use 3270 and 5250 and VT100 and FTP emulator sessions with download client and Java auto detection components. These sessions use the HTML-based configuration model and are provided to allow you to get host on demand up and running and access your host session quickly. Pre-distributed HTMLs are ready to use but require a slight tweaking to make them functional. So these upcoming slides actually go through the tweaking process. You just need to open the deployment wizard and locate the HOD client.html file there and select it. Click Next. Select the particular session and edit its properties. After providing the necessary information, here you need to specify the host destination address to which you need to connect. Select the desired port, 992 for Telnet SSL and 23 for Telnet only. Choose protocol type, Telnet SSL only if your host server supports secure communication, or Telnet TLS, or you can choose Telnet only. There are several advanced options, but these are the minimal settings that you need to make it functional. Launch the HOD client.html file in browser and right-click on configuration session icon. In our case, it's 5250. And select Start Session. It will connect and launch the host session in a separate window as shown in this slide. Now, the HOD administration. Just like pre-configured emulator clients, Host on Demand supplies several predefined clients for administering host on demand and creating new user accounts. Before accessing an emulator client that uses the configuration server-based or combined deployment model, you must add users and configure sessions for them with administration clients. We will cover the administration client features in the demo also. Now, the macro programming, which is a kind of advanced topic related to host on demand. A host-on-demand macro is a XML script that allows a host-on-demand client to interact automatically with a host application running on terminal emulator session, which can be 3270 display sessions or 50 display sessions. A host-on-demand macro is usually written to perform a specific task or set of tasks involving a single host application. Compared to human operator, a macro interacts with the host application more quickly and with a smaller risk of error. A macro does not require that the person who runs it be trained in operating the host application. A macro can in many instances run unattended. A macro can be used again and again and can be copied and distributed to multiple users. And most importantly, a macro can serve as a part of a broader solution to a customer requirement that involves both host applications and workstation applications. So it actually ends our unit 3. And if you want to learn advanced topics related to host on demand, Royal Sabre organized instructor-led courses on-site and online to meet specific training requirements for our customers so that we can cover advanced topics shown in this slide and customize the course material and topics as per specific needs. For further details for customized and advanced courses, you can reach us on info@royalsabre.com as mentioned in this slide. We will be happy to assist you for your specific training requirements. In the unit 4, actually, we will provide you with a demo. And for that, I have Hassan with us. So I will transfer control to Hassan, and he will actually show you the host on demand client demo and also the administration demo.
Thank you, Iftikhar. Hello, everyone. So let's start the host on demand demo. What we will cover in this demo, let me share with you. So first of all, we will cover the deployment wizard. In deployment wizard, we will create the demo HTML page to get connect with the host session and the session. Host session that we will use here is the IBM demo server. In the second, we will cover the HOD macros, and we will record the demo macro, and we will how to record the macros and play them. And number 3, we will cover some part in related to HOD administration. So let's start the demo with the deployment wizard. To launch the deployment wizard, click on Start menu and click on Deployment Wizard program. So this will launch the deployment wizard interface, and here we have 2 different options to create a new HTML file, and the second option is edit an existing HTML file. So we are going to create a new HTML file. So click next. Here on next page we have three different options related to configuration models as we covered in the presentation earlier. So we will select the default option, that is HTML based model, and click next. Here in this window we will create the new session, and we will configure it to get connect with the IBM demo server. Click on next, import button. In this window we have option to create a new session. Under session type, select, we have different session types available here, and for demo session we will use 5250 display. We can change the name of session here, and in destination address we will provide the host address. So this is the IBM demo server that we are using for this host on demand demo to create the demo session. Click OK. So here we have the session that we just created. Now we will configure it further with other properties. So here we have different properties that we can set for this session. Session name, destination address, if we want to change we can change, and the destination port. We will use 992, actually we are going to connect it using the Telnet SSL only protocol. So that requires the 992 port instead of 23. Here we have several different options that we can that are available to change different features related to host session that we are creating. For example, we have preferences option here. Under preferences option we have different settings that we can make available for the session users, whether we want to be available for the users or not. By clicking yes and no options we can set and unset these options. And here we also have lock option for each of the feature available here. If we will lock the feature, the user will not be able to change at the runtime while logging into the session. Here under preferences we have start options. Under start options we can set the session ID. That is actually the ID that is assigned to the session when we launch it. So here we can give the specific character that we want to assign it, or can choose automatic option. Start automatically. If we want to launch the host session automatically, we can choose here whether we want to launch it automatically when HTML page will be accessed. If it is checked as yes, then it will launch the HTML host session automatically. If we want to start the session in separate window, we can choose between these yes or no. And here is another option, auto start option, that we can set for the session. If session is started, we can start the macro or an applet while session will be started. If we will choose macro, it will ask for us to provide the name of the macro that we want to start, and similarly the applet. We have to provide here the name that we want, name of the applet that we want to start while the session will be started. So after setting these options. Click OK button, and on this window click Next to move to the next window. So here we will choose the client type that we want to set for this HTML page. Cached client, we have 3 different clients: cached client, download client, and web start. We will select the download client, and on this page we also have 2 different options: the preload options and advanced options. Under preload options, we have the option that we can to reduce the size of the HTML page while it will be launched. We can uncheck the options. It will reduce the size. As you can see, here is the size. These the unchecked items will not be loaded at the time of page when HTML page will be launched. So here we can control the size of the page. And we also have on this page the another option, that is advanced options. Here we have different options like HTML parameters. We can set HTML parameters, names and values that are used for for a specific, if we want to set for a particular section or HTML page, or for advanced use when we convert these HTML pages into JSPs and use them in programming. Code base we can set here. Code base is actually the location of the HTML page where it can be referred. HTML template, if we want a specific HTML template, we can use for the HTML page that we are going to create. Another option, that is appearance. So under this option we have 2 different options: how we want to display our icons on the web page, the HTML page that we are going to create, whether in this standard host on demand client or the grid of buttons. We can set the rows and columns in which we want to arrange the host sessions. So click OK. Click Next button to move to the next page. Here it will ask for the HTML page name that we are creating. So the directory it will show is the default directory, publishing directory of HOD. That is the default installation directory of host on demand. So to create the file, click Create File. In the end, it will show the location of the HTML file where it has created. So we will move to the directory of HOD to launch the application. This is the page that we just created for our demo. So launch this page in Internet Explorer. If asked, allow block contents, click on it. So here is the icon for the session that we created in this HTML page. Right click on it and click start session. So we got access to our IBM demo server. Here we will provide the username and password to log in into the host. So as you can see that we can interact with the host session through host on demand HTML page that we just created using the HOD deployment wizard. Now in this session window we have several different options available here. We will cover the options related to macros. To view the macro manager, click on view menu and select the macro manager option. This will show the toolbar containing the buttons related to macro management, and here we will create a sample macro recording of a macro. This is the macro record button. If you want to record a macro, click on it. Here we will record a sample macro that will perform the login operation and will navigate to one menu option. So to record a macro, click on button. Here we provide the name of macro. Click OK. Click OK button. So now the recording is started, and we will whatever operation we will perform on the host, it will be recorded in the macro. So we perform the login. After providing username password, hit enter, and on this screen, System I menu, we will navigate to option 1, that is user tasks. So this is our simple short macro. So this is the user tasks screen. Here we stop the macro recording. So we stopped the macro recording, and now we will play that macro. To play a macro, we should be on the start screen of the macro from where we started recording of macro. So we will move to login screen. Now you can see that here we have the current selected macro, that is the login macro that we just recorded. To play the macro, we have a play button enabled here. So click on this button. Now you can see that we just played the macro and it moved us to the user task screen without providing the username and password and entering the first option. So in Macro Manager, we have several different advanced options related to macro. For example, we have the macro editor. that is for advanced users actually. Uh, it contains several different tabs. First tab is macro tab, that is actually the information about the macro. For example, the name of macro, description, author name, creation date, and pause between actions, time out between screens. So this is overall the description of our macro. Next tab is screens tab. It contains all the screens that we have in the macro. For example, in our macro we have just two screens, screen 1 and screen 2. Different options related to screens, whether it is an entry screen or exit screen. So here we have the list of actions, and we can perform add new actions if we want on each screen. Next tab is links tab, that is basically used for to link up the different screens. For example, what screen comes after what screen. Next tab is variable tab, that is for advanced use actually, and here we define the variables to store values, compare values within the macro execution. Here we have a button for code editor to view the code of macro, that is the XML format of our macro. So this is the here we covered the macro topic, and the next topic that we will cover in demo is HOD administration. To launch the HOD administration, click on Start menu. Under Programs, select the IBM Rational Host on Demand, and under Administration, select the Administration utility. This will launch the Host on Demand administration. So this is the login screen of HOD administration. Here we provide the username, that is admin, and password is password. Click log on. So in left panel you can see different options that we have available with the HOD administration. We will cover only the users and groups option. So how to create users, how to create groups and sessions for these users. Click on users groups option. So in this interface we have options to create new users, new groups, and here we can see all the users and available groups that we have just created. These are the groups listed under groups, and all users what we have we can see here. So create a new user, click on new user. It will ask for user ID. Provide the username, provide the password for this user. If we want to add this group in this user in some group, select it and add. So the member of this group, this is the user member of this group. So click apply and close. Now under all users we have the user that we just created, or test user, and we listed it here under Z group. So here you can see. Similarly, we can create the new user, new group by providing the group ID and description here and clicking apply. It will create the new user, a new group. So it's all about the HOD administration. Here we have several different options and available with the HOD administration. To log off, we have option, click here. So over to Iftikhar. That's all from HOD demo.
Thank you everyone for your patience as the session lasts for a little longer. And now you can actually type your questions if you have regarding host on demand or our presentation. So you can go ahead and type your question in the questions box, and we will try to answer all the questions. And also, if there is any question that needs some study or requires more time, we will answer those questions through email personally. Okay, we received one question from one of the attendees. How can we try out or evaluate host-on-demand technology? In fact, host-on-demand is a licensed product and is not available for trial. But if you need to have it in your environment just to evaluate it, you can contact IBM or you can contact Royal Cyber, and we can assist you in this regard. Otherwise, it is not downloadable directly from their website. Another question from another participant. Is there any special requirement for host-on-demand installation or any prerequisite? So answer is Java 2 is required only to install HOD. So you need to have Java 2 installation on your system before installing host-on-demand technology or setup. So it can be deployed on any on variety of platforms supporting Java, like AIX, Linux, or any other flavor of Unix. Another question, can we use host-on-demand libraries to develop custom applications in Java? The answer is yes. Of course, it provides a rich set of APIs to interact with. You can develop rich UI-based desktop applications, customized applets, and web applications to access and interact with your backend host. You also can write web services, or you can come up with a SOA or SOA-based solutions around your host applications using host-on-demand libraries. And moreover, host-on-demand provides APIs to connect with existing enterprise applications like ERPs, like SAP, and by host-on-demand libraries, you can develop a middleware solution between host applications, which is ICs or GCDs systems, and your existing enterprise application. And we are also planning to actually schedule another webinar to cover some advanced topics like these. Another question, can we generate other types HOD clients other than HTML pages, or I think if someone wants to generate JSPs, ASPX, or any other PHP clients, but I think the Wizard only generates HTML pages, but we can convert them manually in JSP pages. And the other types like ASPX or PHP is not supported, as it is the Java-based technologies. So you can, if you want, you can manually convert them to JSPs only. Another question is, can we create more than one session and connect to multiple host applications? Yes, we can. We can have multiple connections in a single applet. And we can even connect simultaneous connection at the same time. Another question from the attendees, does it depend on or require IBM WebSphere application server to deploy? No, you can actually, this is one benefit also. You can deploy the host-on-demand solution to almost any web server like Apache, Tomcat, or any other server, including IBM WebSphere application server. And one attendee is actually asking that if we compare host-on-demand with HATS, IBM HATS solution or technology, so how do we compare? In fact, HATS has its own benefits and advantages, but using host-on-demand, you can actually extend your green screens using internet on clients' browsers. And also at the same time, you can develop your custom solutions, like as I mentioned in the presentation and in the answer earlier question. You can develop your own desktop applications, you can develop your web services around the host applications, and also you can create solutions to integrate other platforms, like for example, if you want to integrate the host-on-demand data or services with your existing ERPs like SAP or any other platform like Oracle, JD Edwards, so you can do that too. Thank you very much for your attendance, and we are actually thankful to you as you spent time, and definitely it actually lasts for a little longer. Thanks for your patience also. And you can actually reach us through email that already with you. You can ask further questions on email, and you can contact for any other assistance related to host-on-demand or any other solution. You can definitely go ahead and ask. And thank you again for your time today, and thanks for attending this webinar. And that's actually mark the end of this session, and have a nice day. Bye.